Welcome, everyone. Thanks for joining us for our virtual show training. I'm Tony. I'm your LaSalle County Coordinator, and I will be hosting today's training with co-host Brent Sankin and Barb Krug. So between the three of us, we should be able to guide you through the process for the virtual show registration and to assist you with questions. I do want to let you know, if you please to have a question, put that in the chat box. Barb will be monitoring that and we will address those questions as appropriate, okay? And again, please mute your mics because we have a lot of interference if we don't. And we will be recording this training and the recording has begun. And first I'm going to begin with a brief review of your fair entry registration. I'm going to stop sharing the current screen and reshare so you can see. You all should have received in an email this document here, how to register exhibits in fair entry. And I'm going to do the opening review of this, and then Brent will move into the actual fair entry registration. So we'll begin right now with this. I do want you to know that although the virtual show has its own guidelines due to the virtual aspects, you do need to reference your LaSalle County 4-H show book. You can see on the instructions, we have provided an abundance of links for you for resources. Your show book is still your resource. In addition, you would then review the provided guidelines that the state has edited as an addendum per se, that is the virtual show guidelines. Those you will find on the virtual show page. Now, I know I'm going out of order, but I think that it's going to be a little beneficial because we have already emailed every 4-H member these exhibit instructions for fair entry. We have also provided the virtual show link. Everything that you need is in your hands at the virtual show, the info page. And then we as extension staff are available via email. So use the resources. And if you're in a general project area, focus on your general project link guidelines. And if you're in livestock, you would also focus on that link. But I will tell you, I have also been emailing each specific livestock area of any updated data as we receive. Sometimes we receive new information daily. Sometimes it's weekly, but we are doing our best to keep you abreast of the latest information, the latest guidelines and documents. This is not so to confuse you, but it's to provide you with state updates. We take in their updates and guidelines for this virtual show and then share it. So I hope that you will find all of these beneficial. We've run through them multiple times and we think that we've covered all aspects of questions on the basic level of your guidelines and needs. We trust that there will be some questions you'll reach out to us for, and we welcome that. So if I scroll down a little bit, you'll see in this document, these are just links that will then jump you to the specific areas of the instructional phase that Brent will be reviewing when I'm done. Now, most important, and you'll see, there's a reason why this font is big, bold, and in red. New to the virtual show aspect, when the 4-Hers typically register in fair entry, they just go in, they log in and register, they're done. Then later on, they go and work on and finish their project. That is not the case. That cannot happen this year. You are required to have your project complete, the required photos taken, and ready to upload to the fair entry site when you are doing your registration. So just to summarize, in conjunction with your fair entry registration, you do have to have the photos of your completed projects ready to upload at the same time, and you submit it all together. There's no option to get around this. So that's why we've been trying to email our members and also give heads up to leaders. We've been meeting with our leaders regularly. So you need to also rely on your leaders. They are abreast of the majority of this information as well. So with all of us and with you paying attention to this, we hope that we can really help you out and make it a little bit more easier for you, because we know this is a big change. And the state has been working very hard to offer this opportunity, as has your county staff. This is a whole new data system that's been created. So Again, some of it is we're all learning together. So it's great that we all have that 4-H perspective. So I'm going to end right here and I'm going to let Brent move into the specifics on your fair entry registration of your projects.
We're going to start off like we need to register your entries. Um, so you have these instructions. You would go through and read through them and everything. The first link on there is this fair entry link. It's also right here on the first step. Um, I'm just going to go ahead and pretend like I clicked that. I have that actually brought up right here. So the very first thing I did was click this green sign in with 4H Online. That's going to get me a window right here. I'm going to go ahead and fill in my stuff. Click sign in. And I have already registered a couple things showing, testing it out and showing people, so that's why I have stuff right here. We're going to go ahead and ignore that, and this nice button here, begin work on a new invoice. Here we can see all of our kids that we have. If you have multiple kids in your family, they should show up there. Right now it's just me, Tony Stark. So I'm going to click create entry. And we're going to start off with an animal one. So he's going to take beef, and I'm just clicking that little green choose button. And here are the classes that we can register as. Some of these classes, we're still working on figuring out exactly which ones are going to be available. So some of these that are registration's not open, go ahead and ignore those. You can't select them anyway. But we're just going to choose this very first one here. Hit select. Continue. All right. Now here is where we need to select our club. You can either hit this blue select this club button, or you can choose your club from there. They both do the same thing, just make sure you choose your 4-H club. Continue. All right, here is where the change this year is. Animals, we need to upload a video. So right off the bat, we have you have your requirements. For specific requirements, you definitely want to check those links that Tony had. But right up here, we have upload link. Click this. This is where we need to put our file, our video file that we've taken before we started this registration. I'm going to click select files, or you can drag and drop. Either way. My animal, I know this is beef, this is my kitty. This is my video file right here. If we jump back over to these instructions really quick, I'm going to scroll down to where we upload these videos. I got right here in this big red, important. We need to make sure that we name our video file appropriately, so that way, after you submit it, I need to be able to find that video file and connect it to your entry. So, we ask that it be named with your name and your entry number. Your entry number, as indicated by this big red arrow, the one in the picture says number 1. I am going to jump back over to my entry. This entry number is number 6. So again, we would click on the link, or you can go back to the tab, either one. Select file. Here's our video. We notice it's not named right. I'm doing this on a Windows computer. In the instructions, there's links for how to rename files for other, for like your iOS, your Mac, or your phones. But on Windows, I'm just going to do a right click, rename. I'm just going to type Tony Stark, and then number 6 for the entry. So there's his name, and I can click on it. It is going to make you put something down here in the file description. Wouldn't be bad to put the same thing. Tony Stark number 6. And then you hit submit. I'm not going to hit submit right now because then my video would turn to looking terrible because I have terrible internet as it is. But it's going to take, depending on your internet, could take 5 or 10 seconds all the way up to an hour or 2. It's okay, you can let that upload, just don't close this tab. After it finishes uploaded, you'll be given a window that says, congratulations, file has been uploaded. That's great. We're going to pretend like we've already uploaded it, and we can come back over here to your entries. This second bit right down here at the bottom, this is just meant to make whoever's registering double check themselves. Did I submit my video? I know I need to submit my video. I can't be judged if I don't submit my video. Just a little bit of a double check. I agree that we did submit our video. We can continue. We have successfully submitted that entry, but we're not done with the process yet. If you have more than one entry that you need to do, or if you have more than one kid, we need to do this now rather than clicking continue. I'm going to pretend like I only have Tony Stark, but I need to do a second entry. So I'm going to click this first option, add another entry. We're going to do a general project this time. So we're going to do select general project. You will be registered as a visual arts. There we go. And let's pick something like fiber. All right. Same thing again. Choose your club. And now we're on to where we need to upload our files so that he can be judged. Unlike animals, this first one, you can upload a slideshow of pictures, a PowerPoint, maximum of 10 slides, or we can upload individual photos. My guess is most everyone's just going to do the photo route. Either way is completely fine. I'm going to click select file. Here are my photos. We don't need to worry about renaming them. The photos are fine. I'm just going to select this first one. It's going to upload. I'm just going to go through and select my other 2 photos. I'm going to wait a little bit to let these upload.
Kim's question is, so is it recommended for a 4-H'er to take photos and videos and save to their computer before starting registration process? Most definitely.
Absolutely.
Yes.
Yep.
They cannot register without those photos. So for organizational purposes, they'll want to have that already uploaded and saved on the computer rather than do it while they're registering, because the registration won't allow you to register without the photo being submitted, uploaded, and then submitted. It won't let you submit any registration if you have not uploaded your video or photos and your what's called, we'll get into this, your project report, but
tagging off of that you have to have them. Usually for most of them, you can see this first one is required. That's to make sure that you either submit a slideshow or submit at least one photo. I'm going to recommend you submit as many photos as you can so they can see your project as best possible, but it will not let you progress unless you've uploaded something like that. We can see these 3 photos have uploaded perfectly fine. They've finished. That green bar has gone away. Now this last one, which is required, is your project report. This is your narrative. Basically, it replaces you talking to the judge. Unfortunately, yes. I think all of us would prefer to be talking to our judge, but in this case, it's a fillable PDF. I'm going to pretend like we have filled this out beforehand. You don't have to worry about what this is named. I just named it project report so you can find it. Select it.
Frank, could you mention where they will get their project report, just a reference?
Yes. That, I believe, is... We have our virtual show page that Tony showed off at the beginning. Here is our project report. Let me zoom in. Project report forum. Click on that. And here we can type everything and type in it. Yep. And then you would download it to save it to your computer. And that would be where we would upload it right here. Once we're good, we can hit continue. And then here's where when we're done with submitting all of our projects for our kid, and we don't have any other kids to register, because once we complete this next process, it will come back to us at the extension office for our approval. And until we get through to that approval, you won't be able to register anyone else in fair entry. Usually I'd say that'd probably take us a day or 2 to get through, depending on how many people. But still, want to make sure you're done registering people for a little bit, at least. Make sure you finish before you hit continue. We're done registering. We've registered our 2 entries. We're going to hit the screen continue. It's going to say payment, yada, yada, yada. You can just keep hitting continue. You're not going to owe anything. It's going to remain 0 for this process. And then the screen submit button, have to hit that. You're submitted.
Brent, we have a question.
Yes.
Michelle Rich asks, if you have several videos to submit because of the size, should we submit separately?
Why? Can I ask why? What do you mean because of the size?
What I'm looking at is like, my son has poultry and he's going to be submitting, or even goats. He's going to be submitting at least one in every class. And if he submits all of that at one time with the different entries, that's going to take up a lot of, it's going to be a big file to be sending.
So each, if I'm understanding you correctly, each video would be, you need 1 video per entry.
Yeah.
So you would upload each of those separately. And then on our side, we would attach each video separately to each individual entry. That.
Okay. I almost have to see that, but okay.
Okay. At the end, I can circle back around and pretend like we're submitting another entry.
That's going to be a common question too, because of the multiple animal entries in the livestock species. But on our end of it and the judge's end of it, we might have 2 judges judging Matthew Rich, who has submitted multiple poultry. So we do have to have them individually based upon that. So, but we'll, again, Brent's gonna retract and run by that. But how we're doing this is required for judging purposes as well. And we will have different judges judging, if that helps.
Go back to
We
our
have a
dashboard.
question, do we need a project report form for animal projects?
Yes, it looks different. Right, could you go back to the virtual web page? And in the virtual web page, as I stated at the beginning, this is your resource page. You'll scroll down to livestock and Brent will then show you where that's at and what it looks like.
That's this one, correct?
Yes,
Yes.
it is. If you open it, then you'll have to scroll.
Yep.
It opens with some other livestock guidelines, I believe. Yeah. So then if you scroll,
I would encourage all of your members, if you're a leader or, if you're a member listening right now, before you go in to Fair Entry to enter your things, read through that list. I know you've been told that a million times, read through all the directions before you start. In this case, you really want to do it. You want to explore the links and see what's needed, and then you'll be much more prepared once you're in there. Because there's nothing worse than getting halfway through and not knowing, where to find a form or whatever. And it's all there on that document.
So in this case, for livestock, they're not necessarily uploading a file. This gives guidance. We would recommend printing this template out. You can fill it in, printing it out, and then starting your video with it. Either holding it up in front of the camera or something readable so that the judge can verify. I'm going to use beef as an example. Verify that they're judging the correct animal that's in the correct class, the registration number matches, making sure we have the right kid, stuff like that.
and when Brent mentioned hold it up in the video, all of your guidelines, whether it be livestock or a general project, those guidelines say that you must fill out an index card for general projects or this particular form for livestock. And that, what essentially that is, it just replaces your exhibit tag that you normally get. The judges have to be able to see in your project photo that nice little replacement of the exhibit tag, which we call an index card. And there's a link for that also. There are fillable ones on this virtual page, and you fill those out and then you include that in your photo. And or some of the general projects do require a video, like robotics and a couple. So you have to have this has to be included so the judge knows who you are and look at it as being your exhibit tag. This is very important. And that again is in the instructions that Barb just said. Read everything first, just like in school. Read the directions to the bottom and then go in and register. So you come having the knowledge and knowing what we're talking about, what technology is.
Okay.
Now, Brent, I didn't want to jump, Barb, but I saw Karen asked a question a little bit ago.
Right. Yep.
Karen missed where we enter the project report in the registration process.
Okay. I need to momentarily go in and approve this. At this point, this is a great example. We're back at our dashboard where we start. We can't start another registration. I can't really go back and show you until us at the extension office approves it. So I'm going to pretend like it's probably been a day and we've had a chance to approve these. Go back in. I'm just going to breeze through really quick. Selecting our project. Select our club. All right, we're back to This is where we can upload our slideshow or photos. This very last one is the project report. Note it says required, so it won't let you progress until you've uploaded it. And select my project report, and it will upload. Hopefully does that help answer that question?
Yeah, she's good now.
Yes.
All right.
Thank you.
Do we have any other questions?
Well, Terry Sankin asked a question, but I answered it. I will say, we tried really hard. Brent worked hard. Every time we had a form, he had to make that a fillable form so that it would be a little bit easier on our exhibitors, rather than expecting that an exhibitor had the capability to print something, fill it out, and then scan it, and then we save it. So these are some areas where we worked really diligently to see how we could best make the experience a little bit easier, since there's so many changes. But if the exhibitor reads everything on the virtual show page, that link that's at the beginning of your instructions, this will all make sense.
Circling back around really quick.
We have a question from Kim Kashke. I just wanted to note, Kim, the entry number and the registration number are not, we're talking livestock. When Brent showed you that form, the entry number is what he's showing and pointing to right now. That's your entry number in fair entry. The registration number is the ID of the livestock. That's how the judge for livestock sees, oh, the animal tag, I can see that's the same number that's on the livestock form that the exhibitor filled out. Does that make sense?
Okay.
Okay.
Yeah. Yep. Thank you.
Circling back around to our uploading videos, the very first step of that would be renaming the video and including your entry number. Here in these instructions, I have some basic links on if you're stuck or you don't quite know how to upload or how to rename a file. This gives you some fairly brief instructions. This is, I guess I can go right here. Touching on uploading videos again, in your livestock guidelines, it makes sure to say 1 video per animal. So every entry that we have, that's going to be an entry for an animal, which means you have one entry, 1 video to go with it, and then you would upload 1 video at that link at a time for that entry. I hope that makes sense.
It will make sense when you read the guidelines of how many seconds, what angles, they're all different, what the requirements are. So you will then see what they mean by how many seconds a video can be in from each angle and the purpose. Those again are in the guidelines, and we couldn't possibly go over all of them because they're all so different.
Yep. Go back to this. I believe, I'm pretty sure all of the video guidelines state that no editing is allowed. So that's just a single video. You'd ideally be able to take it on your phone or a camera and then upload it straight from there. But yeah.
Do you have any questions? There was a lot to throw at you, but it will make sense once you read the virtual show link.
We need to revisit what you do with the general project exhibit card. That's a question.
Okay, what you do with that card, this card right here, you fill it out and you're essentially going to have to cut one of them. Each project photo upload requires its own card included in the photo of the project. If the project's laying on a table, take this card, set it where it's visible to see in a photo, then take the photo. The judge uses that. This is in replacement of your exhibit tag that you normally get. So we do need those printed and placed appropriately in the photo so that they can be visible to a judge. That answer completely?
Okay. Where do you find video guidelines for each animal?
Again, that would be at the virtual show link. Brent's going to scroll down. You'll find livestock is separate. And you'll see livestock entry guidelines.
Sorry, I just had some noise in the background. Someone's pulling up our lane.
So this then will explain to you how many seconds, what they're looking for, the animals included. So that will answer every one of your questions. Is that good? And you'll see they offer sample videos. So take advantage of the sample videos. Whenever I received that directly from the state livestock specialist in an email, I forwarded these samples, whether it was to dog, to rabbit, to any species. As we got them, this is quite beneficial to utilize this resource. Anything else? Just look at this virtual show page as an extension of your LaSalle County 4-H show book. The show book link is on this actually, but this is your go-to. Anything you want and or need. And of course, you're seeing other counties. For those of you that don't know, we do have other counties in our unit. This is a unit website page, and we all are doing the virtual show. So we all have to follow the same guidelines. We do have your separate links for each county for any pertinent individual information. So this is your go-to. And when you go to this and review it, if you still have a question, then email some of the extension staff and we will assist you. But our hopes and expectations are that the exhibitor goes to this. This answers the majority. So we hope that you find this very useful and that you share with your families.
They're leaving the drive.
Correct. I see a question from Lindsay Pishka. Just to clarify, the registration number for a cow, we would get off the cow's ID tag. Correct. And that's, sometimes the state calls it different things, but they chose to, unfortunately, it confuses you when you have the registration entry number and fair entry, and then they have for livestock, a line. But that was a very good question when that was asked earlier. But they have to be able to see that the ID on the animal is the same as the sheep out. They know that's actually the animal you're showing. There is verification. We want to make sure that everything is accurate. Any other questions? And again, a reminder, this has been recorded. We will be sharing this. We do have another training June 18th at 1 p.m. also. So if you wouldn't mind spreading the word, things seem to work better that way, word of mouth and emails. And also tell everyone they're getting an abundance of emails if they have not checked. And to check our social media, because we do have this virtual show link announcement there too. So, and your leaders, use your leaders as a resource because they've been meeting with us. So with that, just to verify, all projects are to be done by June 29th. The window to register and fair entry is June 15th through June 29th, which means since your project has to be ready and uploaded at the same time, then they only have until the 29th. And see, Brent just highlighted it. That's on the virtual show page as well. So have 2 weeks.
Okay.
Did someone else have a question? I thought I heard. So this is a new jump for these kids because some of them stay up all night before fair, and we know that, but our premise on 4-H perspective as staff is that our hopes were they were experiencing that and working on that project throughout the year, and then they're just tweaking it. So we don't want them to be overwhelmed, but that's the expectation. But we also know that they do wait to the last minute. Verification for the ID tag must be included in the 60-second video. Correct. That form, you have to have that showing at the beginning. I believe the guidelines for livestock say show it at the very beginning. And again, forgive me, we've been absorbing a lot of information here, but I recall reading for livestock, it says that show it at the beginning of the video, hold it up for so many seconds. And again, those questions are answered there. So they were pretty thorough. So there we go. So the member will know when they read the guidelines.
And I'm sure if you feel like that 5 or 10 seconds, if you need to go 5-ish seconds longer on that video because you've held that up, I'm sure that's wouldn't be not too big of an issue.
And I'm expecting you'll probably do a couple test runs, just like when kids do a speech and they're only allowed a minute. They practice it and practice it. So I'm assuming the kids are gonna try to hold it up, time it, and then proceed with their video and see how long that takes. So, but the state is saying it is expected to be the closest to the time allowances. You'll see above, video should be roughly 45 seconds, must not exceed 60 seconds, 15 seconds per front, side, and rear view. Now, that's only for this one particular livestock group. There's another group that I believe it's horse is allowed. So you'll have to read closely. Don't assume that beef is the same as horse in the time of the videos. There are different time allowances. That's why there's different guidelines and it's stated. For example, it'll say right here which animals. So, and there's quite a few other tips that they're sharing also. And again, resources. So between all of that, the data they provide, the tips they provide, and sample resources, I think that will lead the exhibitors in the right direction. Anything else? Well, I'm really pleased you all joined us, and remember to help spread the word that we will be having this again, and it will be being recorded and shared. My expectation is we will put it on our social media, we will email it to leaders, and we'll just see how we're going to proceed with sharing it further. Okay. So bye everyone, and thank you for joining us.
Okay.